As a young citizen of India, armed with technology, knowledge, and love for my nation, with a vision of transforming India into a developed nation, I'm joining Shobhit University. What about you?
Very good morning to all the participants from India and abroad. Shobhit Institute of Engineering and Technology, Meerut, deemed to be university, and its centers of excellence: Center for Informatics Development Solutions and Applications, Center for Industry 4.0 Technology Studies and Application, in association with African Asian Rural Development Organization, ARDO, New Delhi, organized this weekly international webinar series on open source digital technologies for self-reliant India, Atmanirbhar Bharat. Today is the 69th edition of this webinar series. 2nd April 2022. This webinar series is being held on every Saturday at 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Indian Standard Time. On behalf of the Honorable Chancellor, His Excellency the Secretary General, ARDO, New Delhi, Honorable Vice Chancellor, the faculty members of the university, and on my behalf, and as Professor Emeritus and Chairman of the 5 Centers of Excellence: Center for Agricultural Informatics and E-Governance Research Studies, Center for Agribusiness and Disaster Management Studies, Center for Informatics Development Solutions and Applications, and Center for Industry 4.0 Technology Studies and Application, and Center for Health Informatics and Computing. We welcome our guest speaker of today's webinar, Shri AnilKumar SD, founder and CEO, Group CEO of Samunnati. It is India's largest agri-tech enterprise, with its headquarters is at Chennai. I wish to inform the participants and the guest speaker that under this international webinar series, these 2 centers of excellence, Center for Informatics Development Solutions and Application and Center for Industry 4.0 Technology Studies and Application, have organized 68 lectures so far on very important topic, namely open technologies to provision simple and economical IT infrastructure, a roadmap for students using free and open source software and reaching goals of Atmanirbhar Bharat, free and open source software adoption and business models, open data platform for smart digital government, technology imperatives make in India for self-reliance, data governance for self-reliant India, Digital India transforming governance and society, India's email service, citizen@indiamail.com, in 22 constitutionally recognized languages, ecosystem architecture for digital transformation, education system, cyber critical infrastructure, seizing opportunities in open innovation and value creation network in the digital world for self-reliant economy. This talk was by Dr. Jabamale Vinanji Arachi, former principal advisor to the Director General UNIDO Vienna, ensuring food safety and compliance through technology. Digital India, urgent need for semiconductor manufacturing in India. Technology investment in agriculture value chain, role of foreign direct investment. This was by Dr. Dhanendra Kumar, IAS retired, former Executive Director, World Bank. The rise of platform economy, revisiting value chain governance. Entrepreneurship and skill development, artificial intelligence design pathways. Era of automation, industrial robotics, and Industry 4.0, Indo-German perspective of technology transfer, skill gap analysis and opportunities. Role of artificial intelligence in healthcare, current developments in diagnosis, and vaccine research. Digital agri-tech and agri-startup perspective. Health informatics network value chain, e-health system and beyond. Leveraging emerging technology for ensuring transparent and traceable agri and food supply chain. Unleash the power of citizen development for enterprise software development. E-governance models towards sustained quality services to citizen backed up by technology. Indian MSMEs to adopt Industry 4.0 technology capabilities, urgent need for mentorship and accelerator program. Citizen Industry 4.0 Technology Studies and Application is launched an MBA program to train CEOs of SMEs. India has got 63 million units of MSMEs. It is the first center in the whole world to have an MBA program and Industry 4.0 to train CEOs of the SMEs. This is very important that building public digital platform using microservices and APIs. Health informatics network value chain, early childhood development and learning. Health informatics network value chain, clinical AI, interface between machine learning and health informatics. During this period, COVID-19 pandemic, we conducted a lot of programs on health informatics network value chain. The reason is 85% of the disease which we get come from animal. COVID-19 is also one such. But unfortunately, in India, all the health programs are vertical. Human health, plant health, animal health, soil health, water health, fish health, and environmental health. I have been voicing since 2010 that we have to have a health informatics network value chain. And luckily, last year, budget, our government of India announced, National Center for One Health. But this is a $1 trillion economy. Data analysis on an integrated fashion on human health, plant health, animal health, soil health, water health, and fish health and environmental health. It is very important that. And health informatics network value chain, importance of social medicine and community health in the times of health emergency. Gravity filter, that is a simple low-cost solution to the drinking water treatment in rural India. Open source e-GovTech, startups, emerging growth with automation, digital transformation in small enterprises and small businesses of India, challenges and opportunities. National Digital Twine Program, need for a robust geospatial infrastructure. We have so many smart cities program. Nobody talk about a very effective geospatial infrastructure. And Industry 4.0 and MSMEs, benefits of indigenously developed CollabCAD software from National Informatics Center. Mass serialization and anti-counterfeiting solution to fight illicit trade. In a BTech second year student, he is running a very effective, startup. He came on our program and he delivered a very nice talk. New internet IPv6 root server towards Atmanirbhar Connected Bharat. Cyber security, risk, challenges and solutions, intelligent approach to reduce the cyber risk. Indian startups, reflections and possible policy interventions needed for scaling up to Gram Panchayat. All startups are working in either in IITs or NITs or central universities or state level universities, are all in urban areas. And any startups which are working in Gram Panchayat level, this ecosystem are not helping them. These professors are not available to them. And this is where today's topic is very important. And space, robot as a service, leverage technology to solve enterprise challenges. Blockchain and crypto for digital assets platform, pathways for global trade. Space startups, connecting to international markets with the emerging business models. Space communications, industries association has signed an MOU with the Shobhit Institute of Engineering and Technology to help the startups which are coming in the space area. And enabling technologies for future vision. Vivekananda Secondary Education and Skills Development Mega Project. Its potential impact on rural entrepreneurship and rural economy in India. Sports Grail, a digital sports media platform and prospects of Indian sports industry sustainability model at a global level. Pharma 4.0, Industry 4.0 applications to pharmaceutical manufacturing, path to a digital transformation, accelerate, scale, non-linear growth through partner ecosystems, technological renaissance, and human capital, a perspective, health informatics network value chain, a medical outreach, challenges and potential. Beyond COVID-19, revitalizing micro and social and small enterprises, project management essentials, launchpad for future CEOs and startup founders beyond. Society 5.0, a new society beyond Industry 4.0 and post-COVID-19. This was given by Mr. Tomio Isoge, and he was the former managing director, Sharp India Limited. Smart village, oblique community, African ICT, IoT lesson, digital economy, ways and means to protect and empower for self-reliance, pragmatic ways for Atmanirbhar Bharat, and democratization of essential services by using sustainable energy as a catalyst by Dr. Harish Hande, Raman Magsaysay awardee in 2011. Transforming India through relevant education and vocational training, digital technology in simplifying citizen life, online learning during the pandemic and its future, smart microeconomic zone, pathway for self-reliance at village level. Smart microeconomic zones, pathway for self-reliance at village level, Atmanirbhar village. Crime prediction support system, knowledge management for development partnership to achieve the sustainable development goals of UN and implementing the Agenda 2030 by Dr. Andreas Brandner, Global Chairman and Managing Director, Knowledge City, Vienna. Millet value chain from IoT to blockchain, a traceability roadmap. Aspirational district program in left-wing extremism affected district, a successful model of data-driven governance. Digital agriculture supply chain and trading hub, a geo-economic perspective. And NRI, Mr. Maya Suresh Kannan from Hungary. Today is the and market-driven agriculture need for development of crop-specific strategies at block level. Today is the 69th edition of this very important webinar series. We'll have the talk by our guest speaker, Mr. AnilKumar SG, founder and group CEO Samunnati, India's largest agri-tech enterprise, Chennai, on a very important topic, an open agri-network to unlock the $1 trillion plus potential of Indian agriculture with the smallholder farmers. This is a line which is available in your website. I was so impressed by this one. I thought that let this be my vision also from the university. Dear participants, please see the keywords: open agri-net, open technology, open source, open insurance, open banking, and he's making it open agri-net because in 2000, I put up the proposal to Government of India as a Deputy Director General to establish Agri-net with the 10,000 terminal. Wow. I was instrumental for bringing out an IT blueprint for agriculture in 1995, 15 informatics network, AgmarkNet, AgriSnet, FertNet, FishNet, and so on and so forth. And 1987, I was given the responsibility as a project director to work on district level computerization program for 512 districts. That is called DISNIC, District Information System Program of National Informatics Center. So whatever I speak, it is my contribution from 1987 onwards in the agricultural sector. And unlocking $1 trillion plus potential from Indian agriculture with a smallholder farmer. Out of 14.5 crore operational holders, 85% of the operational holders are small and marginal operational holders. Very important program. Atmanirbhar Bharat road ahead. This is the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi for making India a self-reliant nation on 5 I's: intent, inclusion, investment, infrastructure, and innovation. All the 5's, after gone through your website, I think you are doing it. And I'm very happy to moderate today's your talk. Intent, inclusion, investment, infrastructure, and innovation based on 5 pillars. Quantum jump and not incremental with respect to economy is concerned. We need to have a quantum jump. And infrastructure, one that represents modern India. System, 21st century technology driven. Vibrant demography, source of energy for self-reliant, and demand whereby the strength of our demand and supply chain should be utilized to full capacity. There is no logistic lockdown with respect to supply and demand supply chain. Atmanirbhar Bharat in agriculture, in its third tranche of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, government has given a booster about to the tune of 1.5 lakh crore, out of which 1 lakh crore was allocated for agriculture cooperative societies, farm producer organization, and startups for boosting farm gate infrastructure. 1 lakh primary agriculture cooperative societies, 22,000 primary fisher cooperative societies, and farmer producer organization. I have been voicing since 2004 all these the cooperative societies to be networked as a CoopNet, and then each cooperative society to be digitalized under the name e-cooperatives. This was published in the centenary celebration volume of National Cooperative Union of India, and this recommendation has been carried further by the Doubling Farmers' Income by 2022 report, Dr. Ashok Dalwai committee report, with which I have been closely associated, and I was the chairman for two subgroups, volume 11 and volume 12. Volume 12B is on digital technology in agriculture, which I will also briefly mention. And agriculture sector is the foundation of Indian economy. Acharya Vinoba Bhave said India is largely an agricultural economy, Krishi Pradhan Desh, and a country of villages, more than 6.25 lakhs villages. And it means that every village should have an agri startup. If not, at least one agri deep tech startup in every Gram Panchayat, 2.25 lakhs. This is what I have been voicing throughout my two webinar series and my articles and so on and so forth. And it's a main source of food, agriculture, employment and income to the tune of 70 to 80% of the people suffering from hunger in developing countries. And it is labor intensive. Subsistence based agriculture is particularly vulnerable to this climate change. And Indian farming community comprises of about 14.5 crores and out of operational holders, after which 85% are of small and marginal operational holders. They need time, location specific, timely, and personalized information for effective control on their production, risk, and then market their produce to identified markets. They are facing multidimensional problems such as price fluctuation, debt, and lack of infrastructure and weather. Many national level programs, Digital India, Make in India, Skill India, and Startup India and Stand Up India program have faced operational problems at farmer level and farm level, and that too at small and marginal farmers. And market-driven agriculture is the need for development of crops specific strategies at block level. It is very important. And agriculture sector is slowly shifting from traditional farming to horticulture and livestock, poultry, dairy, and fishery production. Demand for fresh and processed products of all types is increasing as the population urbanizes, income rise, and consumption habits changes. Use of e-commerce have also expanded dramatically. Due to lockdown restrictions and social distancing norms, Indian customers turn to e-commerce platform to secure essential food supplies. Since COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, the e-commerce sector has seen significant changes as many food manufacturers, retailers, distributors, importers, and e-commerce firms have come together to develop a new distribution network and to take advantages of synergies. For example, leading food delivery and cab aggregators, apps such as Swiggy, Scootsie, Uber, Zomato have partnered with the traditional and modern retails to deliver groceries. I would like to quote some of the recommendations which are relevant for this today's topic from the Doubling Farmers' Income by 2022 report, 2018. 4 volumes. Volume 3 talks about post-production agri-logistic, maximizing gains for farmer. Volume 4, post-production intervention, agriculture marketing. Volume 11 with which I was associated as the group chairman, empowering the farmers through extension and knowledge dissemination. And volume 12B, even though volume 12 is on science and technology for doubling farmers' income, and on which digital technology in agriculture, I chaired it, and the committee has made it as a separate volume called volume 12B. It recommends 7 mission road program, and it's very important why I specifically mentioned. And if these 7 mission road programs are also included in Samunnati's program, your Amla Approach, I think you have done it. And one is that digitalized agriculture, digital technology and innovation in agriculture, Digital India, Make in India, Skill India, and Startup India programs for transformational reforms in agriculture sector through smart irrigated farming, smart rainfed farming, and smart tribal farming. And digitalized agromet advisories and agricultural risk management solutions. And digitalized agricultural resources, information systems, and micro-level planning for achieving smart village and smart farming. And digitalized value chain for 400 agriculture commodities. And digitalized access to inputs, technology, knowledge, skill, agricultural finance, credit, marketing, and agribusiness management to farmers. Digitalized integrated land and water management system. And digitalized farm health management for reduction of farmers' loss. This is to establish farm health informatics network value chain. That is that human health, farmer health, plant health, animal health, soil health, water health, fish health, and environmental health. And this report also, volume 11, talks about the need for the network of cooperative societies, CoopNet, and automation of each cooperative society to facilitate governance and operational efficiency in the cooperative sector is good for rural India. And this is very important. And Digital India program aims to transform India into a knowledge-based economy and a digitally empowered society. Rise of platform economy. Digital ecosystems are essential for digital transformation in the digital world, which are all the technologies which are making digital economy. This is blockchain, data analytics, artificial intelligence, 3D printing, and Internet of Things, and automation and robotics, and cloud computing. And UN report says that the digital transformation technologies are as follows: cloud computing, mobile phones, IoT platforms, social media, GPS, advanced human-computer interaction, authentication and intrusion detection, 3D printing, smart sensors, augmented reality, and analysis of big data and advanced algorithm. This is where that wealth generation is there. Unless we generate algorithms, from algorithms, technology that gets developed, and user data collection. And we have the following situation. India wants to have agriculture 4.0, which I have been propagating. And industry 4.0, German has announced. In India also, put its plan for industry 4.0 in 2014. We have 63 million SMEs unit. This industry 4.0 is the aid to, tap the door of many of the SMEs. And then Japan has announced Society 5.0. German has announced Industry 4.0. Japan has announced Society 5.0. And India has to, give Agriculture 4.0 in association with Industry 4.0, 5.0, and Society 5.0. And India has announced Amrit Kaal led up to at 100, a strategic plan for the next 25 years from at India at 75 to India at 100. And Sustainable Development Goals of the UN and Agenda 2030 here also says that the future we want 17 goals, 169 targets, and each one is interrelated, and agriculture and food systems are related to all the sustainable development goals for make them to be successful. I was quite impressed by the 1992 Earth Summit at Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and And its recommendation, Agenda 21, Chapter 14, it is on sustainable agriculture rural development. In 95, when I was given the agriculture sector as a national project director for IT in agriculture, I was quite impressed. I had a national conference in May 1995 at Vigan Bhavan, which were attended by more than 450 participants, scientists, administrators, technocrats, and so on and so forth, which gave an IT blueprint for agriculture sector, AgmarkNet, AgrisNet, FishNet, and so on and so forth, 15 Informatics network. And that conference also demanded 3 to 6% of the agriculture budget should be earmarked for IT in agriculture. Dr. Balram Jakar, then Union Minister of Agriculture, came for the valedictory address. He agreed to that. Then the government of India, Department of Administrative Reforms under Mr. Vittal, they had a recommendation, 2 to 3% of and that's how every government department had the IT budget. And now this is very important. I am very happy. Even AgmarkNet scheme was written in my room, and it was next day morning. It was approved by the then Secretary Agriculture in 99-2000, and I'm very happy to see that AgmarkNet was able to network by 2008 3,500 wholesale mandis and was able to have a data of 400 agriculture commodities. And that's how I'm being considered as a father of agricultural informatics in the country. And yesterday, when I was preparing a note for your programs, I was very happy that the new logo which the government of India has got is with the government of India logo and AgmarkNet connecting the farmers to the world. That is that statement, which they have put it. And now let us come to Open Agri-Net to unlock the $1 trillion plus potential of Indian agriculture with smallholder farmers. Let me quote, in these two international webinar series and national webinar series on 6 and about 21 topics, we had invited, experts and scholars, technocrats, scientists to talk on various problems, technology investment in agriculture value chain, role of foreign direct investment. It is a very important thing that if we would like to have an open agri network to unlock $1 trillion plus potential. 2012, the former chairman of the Hindustan Unilever, he said it, that rural India is a powerhouse and it can add $1.83 trillion to the existing GDP of India, 2012. So now it is still true, but it is with inflation taken into account, and it's only not $1. It can be, it's not $1 trillion. It is 1.88. It can exceed $3 trillion. But now you have given a vision that with an open agri network, you would like to unlock $1 trillion plus potential with the small and marginal farmers. And this is where every one of us has to join with you. That's why I thought that, that's very important that this message has to go. And when I, informed it to Dr. Ashok Dalwai, and we worked together very closely. I was with his committee, and he said that Mr. AnilKumar has a lot to say. And please send the video link to him as after the talk is over. Leveraging emerging technologies for ensuring transparent and traceable agri and food supply chain. Digital agri-tech and agri-startup perspective. Millet value chain from IoT to blockchain. After this talk, Ardo has initiated a discussion to transfer the technology from this startup. It has got its headquarters is in Chennai and Pune, and to work with Niger country, their member country of Ardo, which produces millet, but they don't consume. And Nairobi, consume, millet, but they don't produce it. So now Ardo is, discussing with the startup that, how to generate this millet value chain among their, countries, member countries, from Niger to Nairobi. And digital agriculture supply chain and trading hub, a geo-economic perspective, and NRI, based in Canada and Hungary, is now working on established an agriculture supply chain, digital agriculture supply chain, and trading hub. Once the commodities gets into the warehouse, it becomes a digital token for trading. That's how he's working on it. And market driven agriculture, need for development of crop specific strategies at block level. And then spices informatics network value chain, dairy informatics network value chain, tech enabling India's tech starved farmers for manifold increase in their income, and generating sustainable on-farm income through fintech intervention. And then agri-tech, new horizon in Indian agriculture, democratizing the future of farming, global experience. Farmer collective with value addition, powerful business model for income increase for small and marginal farmers. Lessons from Operation Flood for transforming agriculture and food system. Why we can't even apply Operation Flood in agriculture perishable commodity, when we can do a Operation Flood in for perishable commodity like milk? Why can't for other perishable commodities? Impacting lives through livelihood promotion and value chain development. And then agriculture value chain challenges and opportunities. Dairy husbandry for food security and national prosperity. This speaker said it. He was the former president of BAFE, Pune. He said that every gram panchayat should have a dairy startup. No milk should travel out of the gram panchayat as a raw condition. It should go as a dairy product. And he's going to work with us as a one pilot project in one district, in one state as a model at the gram panchayat level. It's called dairy startup in milk. In the milk should not travel as a raw material outside the gram panchayat. And then and mushroom cultivation is another one. An NGO working from 94 in Gawat in Assam is now made it as a very big thing. It is much more than what ICR is doing it. Mushroom cultivation, a way towards self-reliance from agriculture waste and providing nutritional food security to the nation. And Samunnati is the largest agri-tech enterprises. I would like to tell the audience, before what you speak to them in your talk, that from the published information available, let me prepare the audience so that they understand you very effectively. That Samunnati is on a mission to create an open agri-network to unlock the $1 trillion plus potential of Indian agriculture with the smallholder farmers at center of it. It stands for collective growth, collective prosperity of an agri ecosystem. It has three components: farmers collective, agri-commerce, and agri-finance. and this is, they wanted to make that to be more efficient and more productive ecosystem, and through multiple technology enabled intervention and collective partnership. And agri-finance, farmer collectives, and agri-commerce, and their approach is called Amla Approach. I was very happy about that. Aggregation and market linkage, and then advisory services by leveraging technology. And they also introduced Kisan Pay Card, very innovative solutions that. And their mission is that Samunnati is in a presence in more than 100 agriculture value chain. The Doubling Farmers Income Committee report talks about 400 agriculture commodity value chain. And then Agri Value Chain Enabler, Samunnati has announced its plan to strengthen leadership and talent this year, and aligned to its plan of doubling down on its offerings across all agriculture value chain to impact 1 in every 4 farming household through its network by 2027. It was published yesterday in Economic Times, March 1st April 2022. And Samunnati Foundation also signed an MOU with the IIT Madras Incubation Cell to develop innovation in agriculture and support agri-tech startups. And it's also setting up weather station for a farmer produce organization to collect data that can be used to structure insurance products for the members of this collective. This university is working with the Alliance brokers, insurance brokers, to bring in open insurance ecosystem. He delivered a very nice talk. Along with Mr. Ajitan, he was the president of Tamil Nadu Banana Producers Organization. And open insurance ecosystem is a very important thing. It is making waves in China, makes waves in Korea, Japan, Europe, and America, and in India. A farmer buys insurance for his scooter. He buys insurance for his inputs, and all his outputs are insured. But while production stage, he doesn't want to insure it. It's a problem. And unlocking potential of the Indian agriculture is their mission. And they say that the Indian agriculture technology sector has the potential to that's a report gets quoted that about $24.1 billion in the next 5 years, as Indian agriculture technology has the potential to grow to $24.1 billion for the next 5 years, which is an indicator of the potential that ecosystem is on the cusp of unleashing. And it is the first organization to launch FBO, enabling engagement to the next level. That is that Open Agri-Network named FBO eNext. And it's very important. And with this background, let us now turn to the address by our guest speaker. I would like to inform you that the Shobhit University has launched a MTech level program in agricultural informatics to train BS agriculture graduates and engineering graduates and postgraduate non-engineering graduates to get into agriculture sector through technology.
Very nice.
And with your Amla Approach and this MTech in agriculture informatics program and MBA in agri program can bring in complete digital transformation at the grassroots level. And the MBA program in agribusiness management, I will send you the brochures to you so that we work together through the MOU. And Mr. AnilKumar SG, founder, Group CEO, Samunnati, will talk about an open agri-network to unlock the $1 trillion plus potential of Indian agriculture with the smallholder farmer. This topic will motivate and galvanize the participants watching over telecast through facebook.com/Shobhit University India or youtube.com/Shobhit University in or linkedin.com/company/Shobhit-University for motivating them to get inspired to work through startups at Gram Panchayat level for Open Agri-Network with the smallholders farmers through the Amla model of Samunnati. Indian farming community comprises of about 14.5 crores operational holders, of which 85% are small and marginal farmers. Smart irrigated farming, smart rainfed farming, smart tribal farming, and smart hill farming. I wish to quote an article. It came on Business Line on November 22, 2021. Why open agri networks are key to scaling 4.0 in India. And and it required solutions focusing on grassroots level intervention and innovations. Agri's net the proposal was submitted to the government in 2000. 15 informatics network programs. And I'm very happy that now it is why Open Agri-Network are key to scaling Agri 4.0 in India. And with this is, the report says that the success of any industry depends on steady access to 3 important factors. And one is adequate and affordable capital, free and fair markets, and the latest technology, which Samunnati adopts it, and through their Amla model. And it may be, Mr. AnilKumar during his address will explain. And these factors remain a challenging proposition for India's agriculture sector. India is an agrarian economy, and India can provide food to the whole world. Has a sunshine of 365 days, more than 127 agroclimatic zone. We can grow food during the 365 days. And with this, I would like to introduce our guest speaker to the participants to the webinar. Mr. Manish? Mr. Manish, can you put profile on the screen? Mr. AnilKumar SG is the founder and CEO of Samunnati, India, India's largest agri-tech enterprise. Samunnati is on a mission to create an open agri-network to unlock the $1 trillion plus potential of Indian agriculture with smallholder farmers at the center of it. Mr. AnilKumar has received awards, recognitions from several forums, including the Best Social Entrepreneur in the Global Social Entrepreneurship Program 2018, the Thai Impact Entrepreneur of the Year Award 2013, Real Leaders Impact Award 2020, ranked 83 in top 100, and the Economic Times Social Enterprise Startup Award in 2020. He is also on the task force of CIA on agri startups and FICCI on minimizing food loss and wastage. A career banker with close to 3 decades of experience in the areas of rural, retail, and agri-banking. Mr. AnilKumar's professional journey has lent him deep grassroots understanding of Indians' smallholder farmers. He started his career with Canara Bank and then joined ICICI Bank. Prior to Samunnati, he was the co-founder and trustee of IFMR Trust and CEO of IFMR Rural Channel. Mr. AnilKumar holds the Masters in Management from Asian Institute of Management, Manila, and he also holds a Masters in Business Administration from Symbiosis Institute of Management, Pune, and a graduate degree in Humanities from Osmani University, Hyderabad. With this, I welcome Mr. AnilKumar SG to deliver the talk in the international webinar series on open source digital technology for self-reliant India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, on a very important topic, an open agri-network to unlock the $1 trillion plus potential of Indian agriculture with smallholder farmers. Over to you, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
This has been incredible to listen to you on the journey of the entire Indian agriculture, Professor Moni. I'm tempted to say that every year I should come and sit with you for 2 weeks, perhaps, to chart out the plan of action for what Indian agriculture would need and what Samunnati should be focusing on. And with your permission, I would indeed come and do that and seek your guidance on all that has happened in the space of agriculture and what are the things that we can look at doing together. It has been a real privilege to get to know of several topics that have got addressed in these international seminars, and also your role in the entire publication of the 16 volumes of Doubling Farmers' Income, which in a way is the Bible for what Agriculture 4.0 is, in my view, and a lot can be done by just leveraging on the knowledge exercise that has gone in putting together all the best practices in those works. So it's my privilege to be part of this webinar series and share in a brief way, because the presentation was put together for a longer duration. I realize we have about 30-35 minutes to be able to cover a lot of ground. We will do that and perhaps leave the presentation with the organizers, which could be made available as things
you have enough time, because this is a very important topic, because this talk will be viewed by research scholars, startups, NGOs, and industry partners and faculty members. And so you don't limit yourself, and we have time up to 1 o'clock, 1:15, so no problem.
Wonderful. Thank you, Professor Moni. Then I will pace my presentation accordingly. Thank you. The word Samunnati itself has the reason why we exist as an organization. It is a combination of 2 Sanskrit words, Sam and Unnati. Sama is collective, overall, all encompassing, and Unnati is growth, prosperity, and elevation. So Samunnati stands for collective growth, collective prosperity, and collective elevation. And this word collective is an important dimension in everything that we do. Right. So the the vision for which Samunnati strives to to engage on a day-to-day basis, what motivates us to do what we are doing, come to the office, go to the field, and engage with our stakeholders, is how do we make markets work for smallholder farmers? And the belief is markets have been working off the smallholder farmers. Can we change that word to for, so that farmer becomes the center? Markets will then focus on the entire farmer as the reason why all the activities happen. So making markets work for smallholder farmers is the reason why Samunnati exists. And the mission, how we are looking at achieving this vision of ours, is by making the agri value chains operate at a higher equilibrium, by increasing the throughput that the agri value chains would need to have, so that the benefits would pass on both sides of the value chain. The way the presentation is structured is, I'll quickly mention about where we are in terms of this journey, in terms of numbers, so that the audience would get a sense of the scale of our aspirations, and are these numbers matching up to the scale that we are aspiring to achieve. Then we get into how do we look at the markets, the Indian agri ecosystem, from our lens, from our perspective. Then we will also double click on how do we understand the aspirations of the smallholder farmers. How do we understand what a farmer would look at while engaging in the activity of farming? And then the last part of the presentation will double click on some of the initiatives where Samunnati is focusing on, to be able to bring together all the initiatives with the smallholder farmer at the center of what we are doing. So we, as an organization, from a number perspective, have deployed cumulatively 11,000 crore plus of gross transaction value since our inception. And this journey has been about 6+ years, so to say. So that talks a lot about the potential of Indian agriculture, an organization which is about 6+ years of journey, having deployed 11,000 crores of gross transaction value, both in financial services as well as market linkages, talks about the unmet demand that agriculture sector has. And 50% of that has come in the last 14-15 months, and last year alone we have done about 4,650 crores. That shows the non-linearity of what is possible when we collaborate, when we work together with a lot of people. But what gives us a tremendous satisfaction is having had the opportunity to work with more than 1,800 farmer collectives, which in turn have a membership base of about 6 million smallholder farmers. We don't work with 6 million smallholder farmers, but the membership base of the entities that we work with have about 6 million smallholder farmers. And that one sentence, Professor Moni, that you mentioned innocuously, that the aspiration of Samunnati is to touch 1 every 4 farming families in this country by 2027, is what is driving our engagement with the aggregators, with the farmer collectives, so that in the next 5-7 years, if we are able to touch 25% of the farming families, which does not mean lending to them or buying from them, it could also mean sending one weather alert or a price advisory, so on and so forth. Can we have 25% of Indian agriculture families to be able to get impacted positively with this approach, is what we are hoping to do. Moving on from numbers, we are present in about 22 states and 100+ agri value chains, and most of us are people from the debit credit background. We have more than 600 years of banking experience, but happy to mention here that Samunnati also has a diverse set of leadership coming from the Indian trading companies, international trading companies, from the agri exchanges, the commodity exchanges, as well as from the procurement side of many value chains. So we are a diverse organization in terms of talent. Our understanding of how the agri ecosystem is structured today is what is depicted on this slide. It is a very complex ecosystem and has multiple players with focused intervention on what they are handling. We have banks looking at providing financial services, both in a directed fashion as well as through their innovative approaches. We have the agri input entities, we have the output entities, we have technology entities, And all of these are centered around the marketplaces, centered around places where the buy sell happens. The mandis are market platforms, and you will also observe that farmer is one such constituent. In other words, in the big din of what agri ecosystem represents, farmer is one innocuous participant in the overall ecosystem. And what we would like to bring in the dimension is, can we rearrange this jigsaw puzzle? Can we rearrange this entire ecosystem by letting people who are doing a wonderful job continue doing their wonderful job, but just reorient the markets from the mandis and from the platforms or from the marketplaces, which are critical, to the farmer at the center? Can we reorient this entire ecosystem with the farmer at the center, is what we are attempting to do. And that is where this Open Agri-Network becomes relevant, gains meaning, because we are not looking at disintermediating, we are not looking at bringing anything additional to all the initiatives that are happening, other than making all of these activities pay attention to the beneficiary of all of this, or the recipient of all of these efforts, which is the smallholder farmer at the center. But the moment you put the smallholder farmer at the center, we need to also understand what are the funnels, what are the filters that we have to be able to arrive at the smallholder farmer as the center. And we believe in the power of aggregation there. And we will talk about the Amla approach that you mentioned, Professor Moni. But suffice it to say that there are principally 3 cohorts that can give access to a set of people doing the same economic activity. In other words, aggregation points for smallholder farmers. And one cohort is the farmer producer organizations, which are the farmer collectives. The second cohort is village level entrepreneurs, the individuals who are engaging with 100 to 300 farmers. And in our view, the third cohort is the agri enterprises, large enterprises which are engaging with individual farmers on either their procurement or in seed replication or in their input provision, so on and so forth. Around that, Samunnati is planning to bring in a digital connector with an aspiration to harmonize the journey between the collectives which are representing the farmers and the rest of the ecosystem, with the rest of the ecosystem continuing to be what they are doing. And this is where I would like to spend a little bit of time. While we talk about 85% of our farmers being smallholder farmers, fragmented land holding being one of the challenges that agri ecosystem has from the perspective of digitization, mechanization, and aggregating all the inputs and so on and so forth. We have very limited scope to influence the reality that Indian farmer predominantly is a fragmented land holding smallholder farmer. That is the reality. But if you look at the agri ecosystem from a balcony view, from a overall sector view, what we realize is even the agri ecosystem is fragmented, excepting that it is humongously large, that we don't realize the fragmented agri ecosystem. And this particular slide brings in the dimension of how fragmented the agri ecosystem is. And let me take a couple of examples. You take inputs as a category. Inputs is a huge category in itself. And if you double click on inputs as a category, you have subcategories of seeds, crop protection chemicals, and farm equipment. And you double click on seeds, then you get into further subcategories of organic, open pollinated, hybrid, genetically modified, and what have you. And then double click on these subcategories is where you have individual entities, individual companies which are in those segments. Similar is the crop protection chemicals. You have fertilizers which facilitate growth, you have pesticides which facilitate the pest attack, and you have herbicides which prevent the herbs and weedicides coming in. So you have something that grows, something that kills, and they don't talk to each other. And double click on that, you have multiple brands. Double click on that, you have multiple companies doing it. And farm equipment, large equipment manufacturers like tractor and harvesters and threshers, to small sprayers and pumps and sprinklers. That is another big category, and same story there. Subcategories, individual brands, and then companies. Each of these entities are all looking at getting into engaging with the smallholder farmer. I'm still in the input as a category. Now, what is the story on the output? Something similar. Most of the output entities would say, hey, I would like to procure what you are producing, provided it passes my quality testing and quality parameters and the quantity requirements. The larger the entity, the steeper are quality parameters and larger is the quantity requirement. How do we aggregate both these, and what do we do with those, those aspects where if they don't meet the quality parameters, do we have multiple buyers who, for each of the quality metrics? And all of this accrues only after the post harvest. And then we have entities, like the financial services and service providing entities, which have nothing to do with the input output, nothing to do with the cultivation, but have a significant role to play in facilitating the movement of resources into these activities. That itself is another category, with in terms of the credit, insurance, the Open Agri-Network on insurance that Professor Moni mentioned, and the savings products, so on and so forth. So that is another cohort and a large category. Then we have pristine institutions like ICAR or several foundations which have cutting edge research in agriculture. They also want to engage with the smallholder farmer in terms of disseminating the information about different practices in agriculture, different innovations in agriculture, but they have nothing to do with the input, output, or financial services, and so on and so forth. So what we realize is, given the complexity of this agri ecosystem and the type of interventions that are happening, there is a need to harmonize this journey. And this harmonizing this journey can happen only if there is an orchestrator, someone like a Zubin Mehta, who is synchronizing all these wonderful initiatives so that the farmer, who is the beneficiary, gets to engage with the agri ecosystem in the most harmonious manner. And that is what Samunnati visualizes when we talk about unlocking the Open Agri-Network, and how do we harmonize this journey is what we are looking at. Now let us switch gears to how do we understand the smallholder farmer, right? While we want to keep the farmer at the center, what do we know of the farmer, and how do we make sure that what we are doing indeed is what is aspirational in terms of what the farmer thinks? And this is the framework that guides us internally in Samunnati to understand what the farmer thinks. And I want to mention here that this framework is inspired by Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and all of us are familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where the basic need is the physiological need, and then the safety and security, and then comes love and belonging, egocentric and self-actualization need. And each of the higher order need become relevant only when the lower order need is met. And if you juxtapose, if you overlay that particular dimension to what a smallholder farmer would aspire, this is again based on our understanding of engaging with farmer households for over 3 decades. The physiological need, the first need, the basic need that they would be looking for is access to finance. Hey, can I have access to financial services when I need them? Just access, nothing else. And we as a country have made significant strides in making sure that the majority of the farming families are brought into formal financial services, and the gains are visible with the nationalization of banks way back between 60s and 70s, to regional rural banks in 80s, to directed lending, including focus on agri priority sector lending by the government and Reserve Bank of India looking at it, NABARD paying so much of attention to to the agriculture and rural development, SIDBI paying a lot of attention to the enterprises in the non-farm sector, and last but not the least, the entire microfinancing as a segment, with the culmination of the NBFC MFI as a class of entity, recognized by the Reserve Bank of India. All of this have made sure that a vast majority of hitherto excluded farming families have gotten into the financial inclusion, and it continues to attract attention. Once the farmer has access, or the farming family has access to the finance, the next aspiration would be, can I have access to customized finance? And that customized finance linked to the cash flows associated with the agri value chain or the activity that the farmer is engaged in. As an example, a paddy growing farmer would require money perhaps for 3 months or 4 months, to a sugarcane growing farmer who might require money for 1 year. And even if 1 year money is available to the sugarcane farmer, what they would be looking at is not an equated installment 1 year loan, but a bullet repayment with a tranche disbursement kind of a loan. And how do we customize the financial product to the cash flows associated with the value chain that the farmer is engaged in, is what would be the second order of need for the smallholder farmer. Assuming that the smallholder farmer has access to the second order need as well, then the third order need that they would aspire for is market linkages. Hey, now that I have customized financial solution, can you help me provide access to the market linkages? When to sell, where to sell, which are the markets that are better suited for my produce, when is it best to sell? Can I store a little more and then sell? Can I do the primary processing and sell? All the dynamics associated with market linkages will become relevant once the farmer has access to customized finance. And how do we engage? How do we handhold the farmer to be able to access the markets that are relevant to the produce that they have? Once you have access to market linkages is where the egocentric, some of those farmers who we often refer to as, the progressive farmers, some of these farmers would aspire to get into niche dimensions of agriculture, like sustainable agriculture practices, precision farming, greenhouses, shade net, export markets, organic, millets that we spoke about, export markets. How do we bring in the hand-holding capability, the advisory services of knowledge, technology, and support, so that some of these farmers who want to be progressive in what they are doing can graduate to egocentric need, for their own fulfillment, that, hey, I'm also a farmer and I also have pride in what I am doing, is what, the penultimate, aspect of this pyramid represents in our view. Last but not the least, the highest, the self-actualization dimension is safety net. If for any reason any of these 4 steps fail, is there a safety net for the players who are operating in this pyramid, so that the fall is not debilitating? And this safety net, in our view, accrues for 3 constituents. One, the farmer as an individual and a householder and a family. Second, activity, the farming as an activity. And third one is for the players in all of this, so that there is a symbiotic relationship that can get built between the actor activity and the orchestrator, so to say, right? So what we realize in our journey so far is, while most of the societal policy level push has been from the bottom of the pyramid all the way upstairs, wherein the farmer gets access to finance and then makes his or her own effort to move up, the market-led approach to agri-value chains are often more efficient when come from the top, where you look at the safety net to the advisory services to market linkages, and then facilitate customized finance. And if you take many of the large corporates which are in the procurement of agri commodities, you see this flow of sequence, where in order to provide a safety net for the procurement of their quality and desired quantity of their commodities, how they engage with the growing areas of the particular value chain, provide advisory services to the growers, and then provide market linkages so that their quantity gets procured after the desired quality gets cultivated. So the market moves from the top is what our realization is, and what Samunnati is looking at in our own journey. When Professor Moni, you spoke about agri-finance, agri-commerce, and farmer network, it flows this dimension, where we started with credit first approach. We looked at the access to finance and customized finance, because at Samunnati we have loans ranging from 5,000 rupees all the way to 20 crores per borrower, and tenor ranging from 1 day to 5 years. That's the kind of customization that we have in Samunnati. And then we realized that finance is important but not sufficient. We need to move to market linkages, is where Samunnati commerce, Samunnati agro came in for market linkages. Then the entire digitization, hand-holding, institution building, capacity building that we do with all the FPOs, which we'll talk about in the in the subsequent slides, are all from the dimension of providing advisory services. And we are happy to say that we also are collaborating with some of the guarantee providers which are multilateral. We work with Rabobank, USAID, USDFC in specific guarantee programs which are designed for players and the actors in this entire ecosystem. I'm spending a little more time on these two fundamental slides because this is the framework that drives the tools, that drives the nuts and bolts of what Samunnati's model is. So let us get into what are these tools, with this understanding of the ecosystem, understanding of the player in the ecosystem, which is the farmer at the center, right? First and foremost, Samunnati's engagement is a B2B2C approach. We are an entity which fundamentally believes in working together, fundamentally believes in collaboration, and fundamentally believes in making all the players operate at a higher equilibrium. In other words, we don't believe in disintermediation, because a lot of value gets accrued when working together, and that is why the model is a B2B2C model, with the middle B representing the aggregator. And from a credit underwriting perspective, if you see, it is this aggregator which also bring in the dimension of the two capitals that are relevant for any credit underwriting: the knowledge about the customer, the soft information, which is social capital, and the transaction history that gets leveraged, which is a trade capital. In other words, from a lender's perspective, if you see, whom to lend is a social capital, how much to lend is a function of trade capital. And both this social capital and trade capital are invaluable assets that get built every time there is a buy and sell in agri value chains. Every time when there is a seller to a buyer, there is another layer of transaction history that is getting built. Every time there is an interaction between the buyer and seller, there is another layer of social capital that is getting strengthened. And what Samunnati is looking at is not to underwrite the loans based on collateral, not to underwrite the loan based on the tax statements or financial statements, but underwrite the loan based on these two capital, social capital, trade capital, in a way where the incentives of all the players are aligned. And that is why the model has given us the ability to operate in 22 states, has given us the ability to scale faster, because we are not looking at doing everything ourselves, but we are looking at leveraging the good work that is already happening in the agri ecosystem. In order to leverage this, this movement of goods and cash from the production side to the consumption side, one needs to understand that we need to be a comprehensive player by taking a value chain approach, by taking an approach where you recognize how the goods and cash flow, who are the people who are moving goods and cash, and what are their constraints. And in our understanding, whenever there is a flow of goods and cash, it is usually from the production side to the consumption side, and production side is represented by farmers, farmer collectives, and the individual aggregators, and the consumption side is usually represented by by the large corporates or institutional processors and other MSMEs as we move towards the production side. So whenever there is a buy and sell, the seller wants money immediately, the buyer wants to pay later, and this is a standard practice in all value chains. And whenever such transaction happens, there are two dimensions that get activated. One is this buy and sell happening in cash, or is the buy and sell happening on credit? And supplier's credit is one of the significant forms of working capital for the buyers, and hence the aspiration for a buyer would be take a supplier's credit. But then what makes this problem a little more acute and accentuated in agriculture, though it is the norm in all the value chains, is agriculture is also seasonal and cyclical. Everything happens in a short window, and not having access to customized working capital in the hands of both the buyers and sellers often result in both of them operating at a lower equilibrium, both of them restricting their buy and sell to the extent of the working capital that they have. And hence, removing working capital in our view was considered to be the first constraint that we have to remove, so that the buyers would get to buy more, the sellers would get to sell more, and Samunnati would bring in the entire working capital structure around it without any constraint on the working capital between the buyers and sellers. And this is where a significant portion of our our financial structuring comes into picture, right? Now, how about the production side of it? How do you engage with the FPOs when you are looking at when we are looking at providing the entire working capital structure? Is where we realize that engaging with the demand side of the value chain will unleash the potential of more buyers that can be looked at a farm gate level, and more sellers from the production side to the large buyers, is where we realize that India has significant number of collectives who can be leveraged. And we got into the FPO space in 2015 when hardly a small section of the market knew and understood what an FPO is. Thanks to the governmental announcement of 10,000 FPOs in 2019, all of us are aware of what an FPO is, and that has given a significant shot in the arm, so to say, to the entire FPO movement. But we, as Samunnati, having spent significant time with the collectives and on the ground, believe that engaging with the FPOs not as transactional entities, not as in the structure of just buying and selling, but working with them as a partner is what would unlock this value chain continuum, where by removing the working capital constraint at the buyers, the sellers would have the ability to buy more, and that ability to buy more to be brought to the farm gate is how we look at engaging with the entire FPO landscape. So now we will slowly segue into how does this FPO landscape look like. Excuse me. And this is where the entire Amla approach comes into picture. And for those who are wondering what an Amla is Indian gooseberry. And Amla is the only fruit which we understand has all the 6 tastes. In other words, it is a complete fruit. And what we want to provide to our smallholder farmer is a complete solution. And hence, the Amla approach is a right depiction of what Samunnati wants to bring. And it is an acronym for Aggregation, Market Linkage, and Advisory Services. Aggregation, set of farmers doing the same economic activity coming together. A set of sugarcane farmers, a set of cotton growing farmers, a set of dairy farmers coming together. And why are they coming together? They are coming together so that what they buy can be bought wholesale, and what they sell can be sold retail. And hence market linkage has become an important dimension. And let me elaborate a little bit on why aggregation is an important dimension and why market linkage has become relevant. If you take an individual smallholder farmer at this point in time, all the inputs that he or she would want to buy, they usually or invariably go to the retail most part of the input value chain, because their requirement is small and their requirement is sporadic, and hence the retail most part of the input value chain is best equipped to take care of their requirement. In other words, when you put the economic lens, when a farmer buys retail is when the farmer is also paying for the manufacturer, dealer, distributor, and retailer costs that come in the entire value chain. And then when do a farmer sell? Soon after harvest, right? As soon as the harvest is done, at times even at the field itself, even prior to the harvesting is when the crop gets sold. So farmer often is at the receiving end of buying retail at the highest price, selling wholesale at the most cheapest price soon after harvest, and hence hardly makes any money. Can we aggregate a set of farmers and then change this dimension and make the farmer buy wholesale, because now the requirement is aggregate demand of a larger quantity, and sell at a later point in time with the primary processing, because now there is a power of aggregation to be able to store, to be able to go to a larger market, or to be able to go and access better markets to be able to sell, is where the entire market linkages become relevant. But what makes the market linkages happen is availability of working capital. Market linkages and working capital are 2 sides of the same coin, and hence our understanding is finance in agriculture is an enabler. It is important but not sufficient. Finance has to be used to be able to bring market linkages, rather than just lending by taking land as collateral, or by taking standing crop as hypothecation and then give the money. And for our we have been fortunate, in fact, to stumble into a seminal work by Calvert Foundation in 2015, where the research basically talks about, or the work talks about why internal players in the value chain are better equipped to engage with the farmer in a more risk mitigated manner from a lending perspective than an external player in the value chain. And an internal player in the value chain has to be a partner, has to be part of the value chain, is what led Samunnati to take a comprehensive view around finance by including market linkages and advisory services. And that's why Amla Approach for us represents who we are as an organization in terms of engaging with the farmer collectives. The moment we look at engaging with farmer collectives, then what are the mechanics? How do you engage with the farmer collective? What do we do the moment a farmer collective says, hey, I want to get associated with you as an entity, is what this slide talks about. First and foremost, we engage with the farmer collective to understand two dimensions. One, where are they today? What is the current reality, both in terms of aspiration and institution capability? And second is, where do they want to go as an entity? What is the collective aspiration that has brought together this entity? Which also means we at this point in time are not promoting FPOs on our own. We prefer working with the existing collectives, existing FPOs, because some thought process around coming together has already happened. Some dreaming has already happened. Some aspirations have already got set. A set of people, are already driven to do something meaningful. So there is a base on which we start working. So the first step of FPO engagement for us is assigning a dedicated relationship manager and having a detailed conversation with them, saying, hey, what do you want to do? What is your governance? What is your institution capability? What is the capability of your senior management? What is the transaction history that you have? And what is the loyalty that you have with your members? And what is the loyalty that the members have with this association? Because that's an important dimension of engaging with the farmer. All of that culminates in what is called a FPO grading tool that we have, which comprises of about 126 parameters, in which we look at what I mentioned, the governance, then compliance, then the accounts and finance, all the way to the participation of women in the board and in the leadership, so on and so forth. And each of them are bucketed in 5 sections, and the outcome of that basically gives an ability to grade the FPO into A, B, C, D, E. And this is how the output of a grading tool looks like, where A is the most evolved, matured FPO, and the E is the most nascent and vulnerable FPO. And how do we make the FPO in E graduate to D, to C, to B, to A? And that is the path that we would have for the FPO, and that is the path that the relationship manager would have for his or her own career in Samunnati. And that is the first starting point before even we offer any product to the FPO. And the whole idea is, unless a proper diagnostic engagement, diagnostic study is done, how do we know from where we start our engagement with the FPOs? Which factors to strengthen, which factors to intervene, which factors to leverage on, which factors to harness. All of that is an outcome of this FPO engagement tool. Some of the FPOs may have wonderful work being done by them in inputs, and some of them may have a very strong customer loyalty. Some of them may have very good intent in terms of governance, but don't have quality second line leadership to support on execution. Some of them may have only a set of inspired souls as BODs, but the rest of the members are still not active. Whatever is the current reality, we need to know where to intervene from, and this FPO grading tool gives us the ability to diagnose where we start our journey from. Once the diagnosis is done, is where we bring in all the tools that we have, whether it is FPO gateway, where the starting point is, or a member digital wallet that we have in Kisan Pay, or the FPO requires an instant loan for them to be able to take care of their working capital requirement, to a bank looking at engaging with a set of FPOs so that the cost of lending can be brought down together, to providing weather alert or price information or any other advisory services through the Kisan Connect, and taking a set of FPOs that are progressive already in grade B and A, as in the parlance of travel industry, we may say as frequent flyers, or in the parlance of banking industry, we say as private banking clients, where they have the ability to scale to the next level sooner than others. And the FPO Next is a program for matured FPOs to take them to the next level. So that the application of tools is a function of the diagnostic study, and the diagnostic study is a function of elaborate engagement that we have with the FPO, and that engagement is a function of the Amla approach. And of course, I will pass this slide because the FPO Next is FPO Gateway is basically a dimension around capturing the information, transaction history, member engagement, all of that to the FPO, so that the FPO becomes a viable and efficient conduit for the members to offer services and transactions. That's what we are looking at, and that is at an entity level. And the moment we bring in the farmer as the beneficiary, as the recipient of the services, can we also provide a digital wallet to the farmer through a pay card solution, is what we engage with it. Now, this slide talks about what drives all of these initiatives, and from an impact perspective, when we started the presentation, we spoke about making markets work for smallholder farmers, and agri value chains operating at a higher equilibrium. Is there some thought process around how do we capture the impact of our engagement in relation to the FPOs and their members, is what this slide talks about. First and foremost, the intervention, the engagement with Samunnati, is it reducing the cost of the cultivation, reducing the cost of inputs. And unless that happens, then the power of aggregation is meaningful. And it could just be that instead of buying 2 bags of urea, now I'm buying 300 bags of urea together, because we are 150 people who have come together, and hence there is a reduction of 15-20% on the cost of urea, because it is a wholesale purchase. That small one also is an important dimension in terms of reducing the cost of cultivation, and so on and so forth. So that is the first dimension that we look at. The second dimension of impact that we also look at is the entire productivity drivers, and it has 3 sub drivers that we look at. One is can we increase the value per unit produced, and I will give you an example of this for the benefit of the audience. Second one is can we increase the number of units per asset produced, and third one is can we increase the number of assets under use. So if I can take one allied activity and one crop as an example to explain what we mean by the productivity drivers, let me take dairy as an example. By increasing the quality feed and fodder to the animal, and hence increasing the fat and SNF, can we increase the realization per liter of milk of the cow from say 25 rupees 50 paise to 27 rupees, 1 rupee 50 paise increase per liter of milk is what the first unit captures, more value per unit, and they may still be producing only 5 liters of milk per day. But is there an increase in the income for the same number of liters that is being produced per cow? That is the first driver. The second driver is by taking care of the veterinary care for the cow, can we increase, or the buffalo, can we increase the number of liters? Instead of 5, can it give 7? Instead of 7, can the cow give 10 liters of milk? And mind you, the first and second also can get combined. That is the second driver of the productivity. And third one is, on an average, the Indian household has about two milch animals in the backyard, because 60 to 70% of the bandwidth of the lady of the household goes in getting the fodder and feed for the animal. By providing the fodder and feed at their doorstep or at the collection point, can we increase the bandwidth or release the constraint on the bandwidth of the lady of the household to take care of one more animal in the background, so that there are 3 animals that can that can contribute to the family income, is what theoretically the productive drivers talk about. And if I take paddy as an example, as a crop, right, instead of 10 quintals of rice, by taking care of the timely application of inputs and other advisory services, can 10 quintals become 11 quintals, 12 quintals, for the same land under cultivation. Second is by postponing the sale, instead of selling soon after harvest when the prices are the lowest, can I sell after a month or after 2 months of harvest, is where we get into a higher realization for the same 10 quintals or 12 quintals that is produced is the second driver. And the third driver is by getting into efficient ways of irrigation, whether it is drip or otherwise. Can we increase the land under cultivation is what the third driver talks about. So what these frameworks help us, is actually engage with our internal audience, our product development team, our technology team, our sales team, to look at where the rubber meets the road and what is our response to that. And the last one, because we are a B2B2C model, we track two ratios to look at the loyalty and the efficacy of the FPO in their members' lives. One ratio is ratio of active members to total members, and second one is number of new members who have come in. And all of us know each of these ratios will tell a story. If there is a 500 member FPO and 450 members are active, tells a story. To another FPO which is 500 but only 50 members are active, tells another story, right? An FPO where there is a waiting list for people to get in as a member, to another FPO where hardly any new member has joined in the last 12 months. Both these tell again two different stories. So these ratios tell us where do we slot this FPO in terms of our engagement. Do we strengthen the member loyalty, or do we strengthen the participation? Do we unlock the potential that they already have to take them to the next level, so on and so forth. So this slide is more inward looking and internal, and most of our impact discussion and capturing of our case studies for our internal consumption is designed around this framework. So I will rush through a couple of these slides. Samunnati, instant pre-approved loan is something that we launched about few months ago, about 4 months ago. Happy to say that this is the first straight through process digital loan for an FPO, where the only commitment that they need to have, in addition to being a registered entity, is they being united. When the board of directors say, hey, we are united, is where Samunnati commits them with a pre-approved loan of up to 5 lakhs for multiple requirements. And it is a completely straight through process where from an application to the loan, it is about 3 days flat. And happy to share with this audience that as on 31st March, we have disbursed about 567 Samunnati IPL loans with a total deployment of about 324 million rupees to number of FPOs. And there is a huge pipeline, and all of this happening digitally, straight through process within 3 days. That's what it is. While we talk about an Open Agri-Network, we cannot not mention about the buoyancy that we are seeing in the agri ecosystem, in the agri entrepreneurship space. And Samaram as an initiative is focused around our entrepreneur friends, the youngsters who are taking up agri entrepreneurship as their future. And we are seeing significant energy in the entire entrepreneurial space. And one of the things that Professor Moni mentioned on our engagement with IIT Madras is where we have set up the Samunnati IIT Madras incubation cell for agri technologies. And we have multiple incubators that we work with. And Samaram is a platform which looks at 3 dimensions. One, can we bring in the dimension of the venture debt or the working capital for most of these agri startups? Because our realization is most of these agri startups have the ability to raise seed money or angel funding or a grant money in an incubator, but they often find it difficult to get working capital because banks come in slightly later in the life of these young organizations. How do we provide that bridge between their proof of concept to they being fit enough to receive a formal financial institution funding? Second dimension of our engagement is most of these startups would also want a validation of their proof of concept, or some of the FPOs deploying their technology product or a solution to validate that it is indeed working. And many of our FPOs are progressive in terms of their thinking. So we connect the startups with the FPOs so that proof of concept either gets established or gets validated with Samunnati as a player. And last but not the least, when the proof of concept is already validated and the FPO or the members feel that, hey, I would like to indeed deploy this product, technology or solution at scale, how can Samunnati play the role of making that happen, whether through financial services or through market linkages. Again, in Samaram, you would see significant numbers in terms of different cohorts and a lot of youngsters looking at working together. And the whole idea basically is, as an open agri network, Samunnati orchestrating, bringing all different types of initiatives, niche initiatives that are solving one or more agri problems, one or more agri initiatives, one or more levers to unlock the potential of this $1 trillion opportunity that we have with the farmer at the center. How do we bring in a harmonious interplay of all the tools is how we are looking at. So this is an attempt, friends, to share with you what we mean by an open agri network, whether it is an agri ecosystem with farmer at the center, or understanding the hierarchy of needs of the farmers, to the tools and the nuts and bolts that we have internally when Samunnati engages as a player, and then engaging with multiple players in the agri ecosystem as an open agri network is what Samunnati is striving to do. I just want to put one caveat that this has been a journey like peeling of an onion. We are learning as we are traveling. So I don't want to give a feeling to the audience that we are, we are there already. We have been there, done that. Is not a feeling that we have. We are fellow travelers understanding what next to do and learning in the bargain. But this journey has been incredibly encouraging, and hence we are grateful for all of these opportunities. The biggest takeaway for me, thanks to this session, is that I have to go and sit with Professor Moni and learn a lot in terms of all the levers that we can now plug in to make this journey 4.0 to X.0, whatever is that X. So with that, Professor Moni, thank you for this opportunity. Any questions? Happy to take.
It is indeed a very important journey for me too. And thank you very much. You said it very clearly that why Amla Approach. Amla is Indian gooseberry, which gives 6 different tastes, all the tastes which you want it. And then also you entered with your talk by giving that how every layer of onion you looked into it. So it is a very beautiful analogy which you brought it. I was totally immersed in your presentation, and when you look at it, this is what the country needs it. And you have not given your slogan, your mission. It is not an empty slogan. It is a very highly loaded statement. An open agri network to unlock $1 trillion plus and potential. You say that it's a potential, opportunities, and there is no challenge. You have to walk into that, and you are given a way. It's way what you call it's a design pathway you are given it, and it's an important thing that this is. I'm very happy that you didn't take the words of large scale farmers, the 10 categories of farmers which the agriculture census normally adopts it. But the thing is that you've taken the majority one. I was very seriously looking into it very minutely, and the way in which you explained that this is what has to be told to the our rural youths. And rural India is it's a powerhouse of development.
True.
And what today you have shown is that I quoted 2012, the former chairman of Hindustan Unilever Limited, and today I would like to quote, Mr. AnilKumar SG of Samunnati, and today I understood the meaning of Samunnati. I think rather than pronouncing as an English word, it should be pronounced as 2 words, Samunnati. It gives a great meaning. And we also would like to put it that in Africa, the locals use the word Ubuntu. It's a strong, it is an open source operating system. They put it. Ubuntu means we collectively live together.
True.
The collectiveness is more important. And the thing is that everybody is living for others, work for others. And today you have given a big message to the nation that some unnati is necessary, and it has to start from the village. And it's very nicely you said it, the way in which you put it, that the pyramid, like what the management guru Professor Prakalata said it, that the bottom of the pyramid. And you took that bottom of the pyramid, you said it, that what all the development, the deficiency, needs, and how the growth needs. That's a very important feeling. Who looks at it from the bottom up process? The agriculture is viewed as a top-down approach. And as far as the government is concerned, after the district level agriculture officer and district magistrate, nobody knows what is agriculture, where is agriculture, and who is agriculture. And the country has 6,500 development blocks. You have an agriculture officer, you have a rural development officer, you have a bank officer, you have an animal husbandry officer, you have a fisheries officer, and you have education officer. And nobody has understood that what is sustainable agriculture rural development. All these offices has been established. So you multiply, and there are 10 offices in every development block from the state government and also central government agencies. And they are also, the NABARD brings out in a block level development bank plan. And afterwards, nobody knows what is really going on. And I used to say that even the 14 volumes of Doubling Farmers' Income, it has not even till today reached the officers at the block level. These officers are the Facebook for the farmers, and they don't know what is really happening. And today's talk, I think you as an organization, you have said that these are all the network, the framework which you worked out. Why can't you allocate one agri-tip startup in every gram panchayat or every village to work on it? Let every block level agriculture officer has to work as a startup, because he doesn't need to work about it. He gets a monthly salary, he gets every benefit, he has a pension and he has a family pension. Then why can't he work as a startup? I am always saying that if a district has to be a development, he has to show the development, district needs a CEO. CEO Samunnati is needed for a CEO district for all developmental aspects. That every district has got about something like every year about 2,000 crores taxpayers' money goes over there. And you have to look into every aspect. Today, with respect to this program, you have come out with very nicely that your vision and mission, and your spread within 6 years, which you can spread out, and you are able to bring out the networking of all aspects from value chain, and you are working with finally 6 million farmers through about something like 1,800 plus farmer produce organization. And you have given a real meaning for the collectives with your Amla approach, and then you are complete that let everybody function, because they have been established, they are growing over a period. But why can't we interconnect them? This is a digital connector. You come out with all aspects of digital connector, and also that very important tools and technologies. And this is, you have brought it out within 6 years. It is a framework, it's a method and tools. What is needed is appropriate capacity building of rural youths, boys and girls. True. And this is where that some unnati and the 5 centers of excellence of the Shobhit Institute of Engineering Technology, if we work together, and we also include all what you brought it as the case study, as the tool to be trained on this MTech level agricultural informatics, postgraduate level PG diploma in agricultural informatics, BTech level agricultural informatics, MBA in agribusiness management, and also that MBA in Industry 4.0 and informatics and e-governance. You were able to bring some Unnati model as a case study model, because Indian economy is an it is an agrarian economy. If agriculture is not digitalized, what else we are going to do that? For IITs, agriculture is not a use case. NIT, agriculture is not a use case. And 18,000 engineering colleges, non-engineering colleges, agriculture is not a use case. 4,500 engineering colleges who teach computer science and electronics and so forth, agriculture is not a use case. And then even in agriculture colleges, in universities and ICAR institutions, multidisciplinary approach for agriculture is not there. For them, agriculture technology means tractor, machinery, plowing. And today, it's 4 areas it has to come. I have been voicing that we seen green revolution, GREEN, but today it is green revolution, GRIN, genomics, robotics, informatics, and nanotechnology.
Wow.
So, this is what can bring in agriculture. What you talk about that, Open Agri-Network has to play with genomics, robotics, informatics, and, nanotechnology. And do we have such a capable people in 400 agriculture colleges, 75 agriculture universities, and 100 ICR institutions? And then 42,000 colleges of higher education institution, 1,500 universities, deemed universities. If they cannot work on agriculture as a use case, who else can work for it? And you have shown it at the bottom up, from bottom up. It is possible. You are able to network them. And as a computer science person, I did my MTech computer science from IIT Chennai 76, 78. I was out in 78 from IIT Chennai. And when I was given the district level programs for work on district information system program, I was given only 6-letter word, DISNIC, District Information System of NIC. I visited many states. I took Kerala as a model, had a Padayatra, went to every district. What you generate, how do you do it? I was shown black. Today, nowadays, they show go back Modi. And those days, they show go back Moni. There's a difference between Modi and Moni is 1 letter, MODI and MONI. And in many districts, in Kerala, they said that we don't need computerization. They shown the black flag. But after the discussion, many districts were, very progressive. And they become the district collectors, become the secretaries to Government of India. And then I had a discussion in state levels. One minister, Madam Gauri Amma, they said that we understand that an officer from National Informatics Center Planning Commission is discussing with the government officials. As a left front government, we don't accept computerization. He has to stop it and he has to go back to Delhi till we take a decision. But it is thanks to Mr. E.K. Nayanar, is the Chief Minister of Kerala. He took a decision other way around. Let us not oppose any central government schemes. It goes for throughout India. If any scheme which we bring it at the state level, let us see whether we should adopt for computerization or not. But let us have an NIC program in the state. Today you can see this happened in 88, 89. But today Kerala IT is in one of the largest scale. I'm very happy. The Moni did the Padayatra and one E.K. Nayanar, the Chief Minister. That's how the whole thing. And then I presented the report to 5 district collectors conference, which organized by the former Prime Minister, Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, to tell the district collector how to go for computerization. 28 sectoral database development program, I gave the blueprint. Agriculture, animal husbandry, fisheries, SC development, ST development, education, and industries, and so on and so forth, and those days. And if they would have been operationalized, today with the AI technology, blockchain technology, and big data analytics, we would have got a lot of things for operationalization. They gone for computerization for government related financial transaction, not for a database development from the bottom up process, village level information system. So, and then when I looked in 95, when I was given the agricultural sector as a whole to look into it, so I said it that 95, I had a big conference, gave a blueprint when even before e-governance word was not operationalized in India. Internet was not available, but AnilKumar, due to onion price, the NDA won, Mr. Vajpayee party, then BJP party, lost 5 state governments. Last, their, rule due to onion price, onion not available. But they said that why can't we computerize the market for getting market price? That's how the AnilKumar project was evolved. Started with the 75 markets, 27 commodities. It went up to 400 commodities, 2,000 varieties through dial-up connectivity. And that is that, strength which we were shown it. And then I thought that I must have traveled more than 450 districts in my career. And then I retired as Director General NIC in 2013. I thought that I was able to see the rural distress. Let me have agricultural informatics as a discipline, like agriculture economics and statistics. Let us train the people to get back to agriculture. When I was addressing one of the college near, north Chennai, one professor from, Guindy Engineering, Guindy, technology said that, Professor Moni, you are talking about IT in agriculture. Even the farmer does not want to have his son or daughter in agriculture. And then I said it, madam, that how much work you are doing as a computer science professor in IT in agriculture. You generate people for corporates. India is an agrarian economy. You come from a premier institution in Tamil Nadu. If you can't do, even after listening to me, and if you say that even a farmer doesn't want to put their children into the agriculture, that what type of higher education and research we are doing it. We should apply technology. And if institution like you, people like you don't undertake research work in application of technology in agriculture, who else will do it? And this is, I'm very happy today. Then I thought that, that I was involved as a group leader in the doubling farmers income. So I thought that what I started from 1985 onwards up to 2013, I should summarize it, put it as 7 recommendations. This is what is needed. So my request to you is that with your framework, let us operationalize these 7 mission board programs and show to the whole country, that to the Prime Minister, that your doubling farmers income committee report recommendation, digital technology in agriculture in 7 mission mode programs, and in through this Samunnati model, we have operationalized it. Now why don't you go to every village? That's what is to be done. True. That which we need to have a lot of capacity building, competency building, and we have to convert every student, irrespective of the discipline they come, because they are all coming from, everybody has to eat food, whether it is a cereal or non-cereal, and and perishable or non-perishable. And agriculture is an important thing, and its value chain is very important. It can bring in lot of employment opportunity. Not only $1 trillion, it can be even $4 trillion, $5 trillion, and people need not even come from village to urban area. Village can become, every village has to become a smart microeconomic zone, smart village. And this is what is in, even health informatics network value chain alone will give $1 trillion economy. Artificial intelligence and big data analytics and blockchain. See, and health related data comes from allopathic, Ayurvedic, plant disease, plant health, animal health, water health, soil health, over a village location. Why is it happening? So tomorrow you don't have to do lockdown. You have to, country has to work. We can't afford to have a lockdown. One more lockdown. Country has to go, and then you have to lock the only people who can get affected. So this is what I have been doing it, and this is the Shobhit Institute of Engineering Technology deemed to be university is the first private university to have agriculture 5 centers of excellence for in the area of agriculture and SMEs, industry, and health to facilitate technology adoption in rural India. So I am very happy to have your talk, and really, I am at the age of 68, and you have become my mentor. And
Sir,
it
don't
is
say that, sir.
it's it is this is how we have to be the partner for development from the bottom up process rather than the top down process. And I'm very happy. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you,
Anil
sir.
Kumar. And I also should thank your team to make the program very successful. Yesterday they were cooperating very much. And I also would like to thank event organizer, Mr. Mani Chabra. He was previously an event organizer, and now he is also has become an online. He does a very important such programs. And I would like to thank all the participants who are participating, from abroad and India, and all the stakeholders who will take this video link for further research program and further follow-up programs. So and with this, I would like to thank our Honorable Chancellor and His Excellency Secretary General Ardo and Mr. Anil Kumar, the guest speaker today, for the important topic which we had it, that is an open agri-network to unlock the $1 trillion plus potential of Indian agriculture with the smallholder farmer. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
With this, we'll close the webinar and leave the studio. Thank you.